Hi everyone, I'm Florian Puhani. Ben, the inventor of the CALIRINGs, asked me to make a video about my favorite CALIRING exercises. No problem at all, here they are. The first one's push-ups on standing CALIRINGs. These are great if you have developed a habit of performing your push-ups too fast and sloppy, cause they will automatically teach you a more mindful execution. These are also great if you want to increase the difficulty without adding weight, because they automatically increase the time under tension. The thick girth of the CALIRINGs makes this exercise much easier and more stable than if done with normal rings. But still, make sure to immediately drop down onto one knee as soon as you feel you're losing balance. Otherwise you could get hurt. The second exercise is rear delt flies. It is one of altogether 3 exercises that make use of the CALIRINGs as slider tools. The parallettes on the CALIRINGs are slightly slanted. For this exercise you have to hold them vertically in an underhand grip. Always make sure the lower end of the parallette is on top and the higher end is on bottom. This means a slight outward rotation in your shoulder, which will increase the peak contraction in your rear delts. Always make sure that in the starting position your lower back is arched and your hips are fully extended, so you can't use them for cheating. Instead of just pressing yourself away from the wall, also pull the CALIRINGs toward each other. Besides your deltoids, this will also increase the peak contraction in your upper back muscles. Next are chin-ups with a convenient thumbless underhand grip on the parallettes. Fix the CALIRINGs with the parallettes on your side and their lower ends in the middle. For anatomical reasons, this will provide a very convenient wrist position. Assume your grip with your thumbs over the parallettes and your forearms resting against the lower half of the ring. This will even provide some extra leverage and thus make the exercise slightly easier. During the execution, feel free to rotate your wrists toward each other, unless you want to put some extra focus on your biceps. In that case, instead of performing the exercise more like a neutral grip pull-up, stick to the textbook chin-up execution with fully supinated forearms. Or even supinate your wrists somewhat more during the execution, whichever way you prefer. Without a closer look, you could get the impression that the CALIRINGs are just parallettes and gymnastics rings rolled into one. But the example of the rear delt flies has shown us that they can also serve as a slider tool. And by means of that function, they can also replace another piece of equipment, namely an ab wheel, like I'm demonstrating in this shot here. It's my favorite CALIRING exercise number 4, the ab slide out. You can conveniently perform it on wall-to-wall carpeting or on a slick floor if you put an extra rag under it. And in order to close the gap between the relatively easy kneeling variation and the very hard standing variety, you can easily apply bands for assistance. If you want to learn how to properly fix them, watch the video I've especially dedicated to this exercise. From the band-assisted ab slide out, it's only a small step to the CALIRING floor chest flies, which is my favorite CALIRING exercise number 5. It only takes the second CALIRING and you're good to go. To the CALIRING floor chest flies I've also dedicated a longer video, but there's one interesting fact about them I haven't mentioned yet. The friction between the CALIRINGs and the surface makes this exercise very concentric dominant, because the friction alleviates the eccentric phase and impedes the concentric phase. On the one hand, this may render the exercise somewhat less effective, but on the other hand it also means much less recovery time compared to normal ring flies, which makes this exercise ideal for the greasing the groove technique. Performing many sets of only a couple of reps far from failure, with very long pauses between the sets. Now the 6th and last one is tilting push-ups. Of all the CALIRING exercises I've come up with myself, It's the one I'm fond of the most by far. Even though recent studies have shown us that the initial stretch is much more important than the fully contracted position, bodybuilders still love a good squeeze at the top. And the tilting motion will provide you just that. It's ideal for everyone who's unable to feel his or her pecs during normal push-ups. Not that feeling a muscle is per se all that important for hypertrophy, but it can be very important for motivation. And in the long term, that is important for any kind of training success after all. Now I hope I could motivate you to, once in a while, try something a little different with your CALIRINGs. My name is Florian, and I consider it my mission to think outside the box so that you don't get bored with your training.